The longest, toughest postseason climb. And after all that, it's Ohio State together at the mountaintop.
There really wasn't a lot of people that saw this vision right here. This group of guys, this is very, very special.
When I came here, I talked about winning a national championship. I'm just so glad that God gave me a chance to be a Buckeye.
Well, the head coach of the national champion Buckeyes joins us right now here on SportsCenter. Ryan Day. Coach, welcome to SportsCenter. Let me start with this. Tell me the best thing you did after winning the national championship.
People ask me, what's the biggest difference, after you won the national championship? And it really hasn't changed all that much, but I got a chance to do some really cool things. I'd rather not get into them, but I was able to do some really cool things. Eat at some cool places and play golf at some really cool golf courses. I'll leave it at that.
I like it. Okay. I like that. Listen, you hear coaches say they automatically become better after winning a national championship. So how much better of a coach is the Ryan Day I'm speaking to right now as you look to replicate last year's success?
I don't know if it's better. I think it's more experienced. I think when you win, you get a certain level of credibility with the people in your building, with the players, just in general. And I think there's a certain level of trust that just continues to increase. And I think when you're building a culture of the type of people that we're trying to bring in our building, I think that's important. And trust is something that will carry you throughout the season, through the ups and the downs, and to go through difficult times, manage it, but then also win in the end, to win championships, which we have to do at Ohio State. I think that's what's important, and I think that the trust is at an all-time high in our building.
But Coach, repeating is not easy. You had 14 starters taken in the draft, including your quarterback. You lost 11 players to the transfer portal. Penn State poached your defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles. Your OC, Chip Kelly, went to the Raiders. With all of those departures, what's the biggest challenge you think facing this year's Buckeye squad?
Well, every year it's a different challenge, but there's a lot of people who are doing it for the first time. And I think that part of it is important, and we've talked a lot about how our team has to grow up. We have a young team in certain areas and other guys that are maybe a little more inexperienced. The good news is they saw what it's supposed to look like. I feel really great about our staff and the additions that we've made. And I'm excited about this team. It's a whole new journey. And I think when you are in college football every year, you're going to see it almost becomes year to year nowadays. And that's where we're at.
You were rewarded with a well-deserved raise and extension after you won that title. But after the Buckeyes lost that rivalry game for the fourth straight season, there was so much written and said about your tenure there in Columbus. How much pressure did you feel during that historic run to the national championship?
Well, when you're at Ohio State, you're expected to win every game. You're expected to win the rivalry game. You're expected to win a national championship. And when you don't, you have to deal with it. And I think going through, the Oregon loss in the last game of the regular season, it allowed us an opportunity to show the character of our team and the resilience of our team. And I think it made us stronger in the end and allowed us to dominate down the stretch in some of those games that we played. And when you look at the run that we went on, it was historic. It was the biggest and best run there's been in college football history. And I don't think we would have been able to do that in such a dominant way if we didn't go through some adversity along the way. And I think that was important. But that's part of the job. And, again, people say a lot about winning a national championship and what comes with that. If that's the goal, you're going to not be very happy along the way. What you do is, you focus on helping young people reach their dreams and goals. Winning is just something you have to do at Ohio State. It allows us an opportunity to continue to do that when you win championships. And that's the way we look at it as a staff and as a program.
For the third straight season now, you're going to have a new QB under center. Many believe it's Julian Sayin, who's been battling with Lincoln Kienholz. What do you think is going to decide who will be your starter against Texas on August 30th?
Probably who's making the best decisions, who's the toughest, who's the best leader, who's making routine plays routinely. And we're going to put him in many of those situations we can during the preseason because it can come down to one play in the first game of the season this year, which is not always that way. So I think these guys have had very good off seasons. I've seen them grow physically, emotionally, in the leadership roles, but they got to go put it on the field. And that means, getting the ball and making good decisions with the supporting cast they have around them. I think we have some very good pieces on offense, but ultimately it comes down to the quarterback who touches the ball in every play. He's got to be good on third down. He's got to be good in the red zone. He's got to be good in 2 minutes.
You talk about you have some great pieces there. You've got probably the best receiver, if not the best player in college football in Jeremiah Smith, who basically rewrote all the Buckeye receiving records and catches, yards, touchdowns as a freshman. So how does he improve on that, even live up to the Heisman hype with the uncertainty you have at the quarterback position right now?
We just got to throw it to him. That's all. He's tremendous, and we know that many teams are going to key him early on and do everything they can to take him away. But I think the thing that makes us a little bit different is we have many weapons around him, and we have good balance. We look at Carnell Tate, Brandon Inniss, Bryson Rogers, our tight ends, our running backs, running game. You have to have the balance in order to take some pressure away from Jeremiah, and then find creative ways to get him the ball. And I think that's what's important. But one thing about Jeremiah, as talented as he is, he's extremely self-motivated. And he's bigger, stronger, and faster than he's ever been. He's had a great offseason. And he's only 19 years old.
Yeah, that's the amazing part, that the kid is only 19. You open the season at home in the shoe against Arch Manning, the preseason #1 Texas Longhorns. I talked to Sark last week here on SportsCenter. He said he is eager to come into the shoe week 1. I got to believe you've been watching some film from last season. What have you seen from Arch Manning as he prepares to step in onto your field?
Yeah, Sark's got a great team. He's a great coach. And Arch is a tremendous talent. One of the best talents, young guys to come in through college football in a long time. And I think he's going to be very, very good, one of the best quarterbacks in the country this year. So we know what the challenge is going to be week 1. We're working towards that. We're fired up about having this monster game in week 1. It's really got our attention in a big way, and excited that we're at home for it.
Coach, we certainly love that you spent some time here with us. Listen, I'm not going to be lazy and ask you if you're going to win back-to-back national championships again. But I want you to know, I was raised in Columbus. I got to ask you, is this the year you end the streak and beat that team up north?
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal every year. And we won it the first year and we lost it 4 years in a row. So certainly that's something that we got to get changed in a big way. And we know that. And so, we're going to work as hard as we ever have to make sure that we get that changed and go win that game and go from there. But our guys know and they understand how important it is.
All right. That's what I like to hear. He is Ryan Day, head coach of the defending national champion, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Thank you, Coach.
All right, guys. Take care.